public transportation service, and in only 4 stops you would be back here at the harbor. Yeah, the L group, the luxury group, will stay a little longer on the coach, and you will have a shorter walk, yeah, very easy, also ending at the cathedral. Probably you have a little longer free time, yeah. And yeah, and if you want, we meet all at 12 again at St. Stephen's Square, and we walk back to the coach, and we will be back around at 12:30 for lunch. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Vienna, capital of Austria. Yeah. Do you know how we call our city in German? Wien. Yes, exactly. Wien. W-I-E-N, not wine. We love to drink wine. Yeah, we are the only capital in the world which grows its own wine, actually. Yeah. And if you look to your left-hand side, yeah, where you see the trees over there, these are not the banks. Yeah, this is Danube Island. Yeah, it's an artificial island around 13 miles long. Yeah, nice recreation area. There are no cars. Yeah, you can bike and nice for jogging. And on the other side, yeah, there's the new Danube, and we can swim in the new Danube, yeah, free of charge, yeah. And there's also a subway stop, yeah, so only 10 minutes from the city center, yeah. So the artificial island is from the 1970s because there was still flooding, yeah, and so they constructed this island, and with the new Danube you can regulate the water with a lock, yeah. So now this area is really safe, yeah. And once it was a dangerous river, yeah, with 15 different branches, yeah. But now we are safe. Good, yeah. Coming up on the left-hand side, the first eye catcher, a big church, of course Catholic, yeah. And because the Habsburgs, yeah, who ruled for over 600 years, yeah, all over these centuries, they were Catholic, yeah. And this is the so-called Jubilee Church, or official name Francis of Assisi Church. Do you think, is it an old church or a new church for European standards? No, it's pretty new for us. Yeah. So all this, the St. Stephen's Cathedral, there we were talking about the history of 900 years. Yeah, Jubilee Church is only from the year 1898. Yeah. Famous Franz Joseph, yeah, he ruled, yeah, the emperor, for 68 years, and when he had his 50th throne anniversary, he got that church. Yeah, that's why he chose, of course, the patron Francis, yeah, Francis of Assisi Church or Jubilee Church. What happened in the second half of the 19th century? Yeah, the architects kind of ran out of ideas. Yeah, so they copied old styles. Here we are talking about neo-Romanesque. Yeah, for me it looks, this church looks a little bit like a castle or a church out of medieval times, yeah, Harry Potter or something like this. Yeah. And all the buildings we will see at the Ringstrasse, yeah, they are also from the second half of the 19th century. Yeah, so we will see neo-Renaissance, neo-Gothic, etc. Yeah. Good. In a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen, coming up to your left-hand side, yeah, you will see a glass iron pavilion. That's the subway station, the underground station. Yeah. Now, left-hand side, you see a blue queue with a white U, and it's the red line, the so-called number 1. Yeah, U number 1. We call it U-Bahn, but underground is nice. Yeah. And the name of the station sounds a little difficult. Yeah, it's Vorgartenstraße. Garten, you understand that word? It's garden because we are close by to a big park. And yeah, but it's easy because it's the only stop which starts with a V like Viking. Yeah, Vorgartenstraße, yeah, red line. And from St. Stephen's, yeah, in only 4 stops, yeah, the subway brings you back here, and you just walk straight. Yeah, you walk part of the bridge, and then stairs are leading you down to the piers, and then you walk left, and easy because your ship is docked on number 3. Yeah, but we will give you all the information how to buy a ticket, how to validate it, directions, etc. Yeah, okay, good. Vienna is divided in 23 districts. Of course, the old town is the number 1. Yeah, and it's easy for you to find out where you are, because if you look now on your left hand side on the street corners, yeah, you have blue signs where it says 2, and then the name of the street. Yeah, so your ship is docked here in the 2nd district, yeah, on the street corners. Do you have an idea how many people live here in Vienna?
2 million.
Yeah, 2 million. Since October 1st we are back to 2 million. Yeah, so it's a pretty big city for that small Austria, because we have only 9 million inhabitants here in Austria. Yeah, so it's kind of the hydrocephalus in the east. Yeah, with the suburbs, 1/4 of the population lives here. Yeah, because you know it was once the capital of a big monarchy of the Austrian-Hungarian monarchy. Yeah. Was much bigger, but now before we talk about the Habsburgs, so here on your left hand side, yeah, behind the trees, yeah, you have another landmark here. That's our giant Ferris wheel, located in the Prater, a big park. Yeah, to give an idea, twice as big as New York Central Park. Yeah, quite close to the city center, because once it was the hunting ground of the Habsburgs. Yeah, and end of the 18th century. The emperor back then was opening up to the public. Yeah, this is a really nice amusement park. Yeah, quite close to your to the harbor as well. Half an hour walk. And the nice thing is you don't pay entrance to this amusement park. Yeah, you walk in. There are beer gardens and merry-go-rounds. And if you want to take a ride with the Ferris wheel, yeah, you buy 1 ticket. In the afternoon, we will have a nice view. Left hand side, there's an interesting column. Yeah, on top you have Admiral Wilhelm from Tegethoff, and you have ships coming out, and then you have horses with fishtails. Yeah, Admiral. Of course, today Austria is a landlocked country. Not until 1918. Yeah, the Habsburgs had a navy with harbors down in Trieste, in Rijeka, in Dubrovnik. Yeah, and Admiral Tegethoff. Yeah, he was. Let's say in the beginning he was quite successful, yeah, because you know the, northern Italy was also part of this empire, yeah, and he defeated the Italians in one very important battle. But I always say, whenever you did anything for the Habsburg family in the 19th century, you got a monument. Yeah, we will see more of them at the Ringstraße. Yeah. So what was part of this big monarchy? Yeah. Of course, Hungary and Bohemia, Croatia. South of Poland, Western Ukraine, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Yeah, so many different languages, many different ethnic groups. So especially in the second half of the 19th century, it was not easy for Franz Josef to rule monarchy like this, because nationalism came up. So Vienna is really a melting pot. Yeah, and when we walk around the old town, we still can feel the atmosphere of this old imperial times. Yeah, I'm going to confuse you now. Left hand side, another arm of the Danube. Oh yes, that's the so-called Danube Canal. Yeah, it was one main arm, quite close to the city center. Also got a regulation, was quite wild, so your ship is far too big. I'm sorry, so that's why we are not that close to the city center. But we have nice twin city liners, and they would bring you like only in 70 minutes to Bratislava, to the next capital. Yes, there's graffiti down there. That's legal. The city of Vienna is providing these walls down there. Yeah, so everybody can spray and paint. Depends on, you know, on your talent. Sometimes the next day it's gone. In summertime, you see left hand side there's sand. Yeah, there's Hermann's Strandbar. Yeah, you can bike down there. We have restaurants. And here to your left, the little river of Wien. Yeah, it has its mouth. So our city is named after this small river Wien. Left hand side the Orania. Yeah, that was the last building which was finished at the Ringstraße in 1910, and it was the first observatory here and the first college for adults. Yeah, that was very progressive back then. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Ringstraße is around 3.5 miles long. Yeah. So, and you have to imagine, until the mid of the 19th century, the old town was surrounded by huge bastions and fortifications, but you know, they didn't have any more functions, and Vienna was safe. So Franz Josef, he said, okay, let's get rid of these fortifications. We need a big boulevard. Vienna was growing quite fast. To give you an idea, 1860s, only 600,000 people lived in Vienna. 1905, 2.2 million, more than today. So 40 years of construction was going on. There was a lot of work, of course, yeah, and people from all over the monarchy, yeah, moved to Vienna. And Franz Josef, he really transformed Vienna into a metropolitan. Yeah, so especially around 1900, Vienna was a hot spot. You know, we're a city of music. Yeah, so who lived here? Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, Strauss, Schubert, Brahms, Bruckner, Mahler, etc. Yeah. Medicine, yeah, Professor Sigmund Freud, etc. Yeah. Okay, so now we start to circle the Ringstraße. It has more the shape of a horseshoe, yeah, because along the Danube Canal it's straight. And the first big building I would like to point out to your left-hand side, it's getting a renovation right now. Restoration. On top, if you sit in front, a huge double-headed eagle, the former Ministry of War, and you have sitting on a horseback Field Marshal Radetzky, yeah, very famous marshal. He served 72 years, you have 5 different emperors, yeah, and he was that famous that he got his own march, yeah, composed by Johann Strauss' father, and it's always the last piece at the New Year's concert, yeah, performed by the Vienna Philharmonics, where everybody is standing up, clapping hands, ba-ba-dum, 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 bum-bum, ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-dum. Are you familiar with this? Yeah, melody? Yeah. Left-hand side. In neo-Renaissance style, yeah, kind of the little sister of the Victor and Albert Museum, yeah, the Museum of Applied Arts, yeah, MAC, yeah, and also there is connected to the museum the University of Applied Arts, yeah. So you see everything in there except paintings, yeah, furniture, tapestry, porcelain, dishware, jewelry, yeah, etc. And a very famous painter got its degree here. Back then it was art school, and he preferred to paint in gold. His name is Gustav Klimt. You might know The Kiss, yeah? Very, I mean, his most famous painting. We have it in the Belvedere Palace, yeah. Today it's the Austrian Gallery, and whenever you walk into a souvenir store, yeah, you will find mugs, umbrellas, napkins, scarves, name it, Christmas ornaments with the kiss of Gustav Klimt. Yeah, there was a movie 10 years ago with Helen Mirren, The Woman in Gold, yeah, about restitution. Yeah. So this painting today is in New York, yeah, Mr. Lord bought it. Yeah, not inexpensive, I tell you. Left-hand side, we're a quite green city with more than 50% green land and many parks here at the Ringstraße, the Stadtpark, City Park, full of monuments dedicated to composers. Guess who has the biggest one? I will point it out in a moment. But now, ladies and gentlemen, look then to your right-hand side. I know they're 2 modern hotels, but a little bit in the back, yeah. Now, the Palais Saxony-Coburg. We can see the steeple of St. Stephen's in the back. Yeah, beautiful example for a palais here at the Ringstraße. And now, left-hand side, yeah, you see a gap, and little bit in the back, in gold, from top to toe, with his violin, Johann Strauss' son. Yeah, he was the handsome Johnny. The ladies fainted during the concerts. Probably the corset was too tight. Yeah, and left-hand side you have an example for one concert hall. Yeah, so he was. It was interesting. He was always, playing the violin, and in between he was conducting with his bow. Yeah, and dancing was back then, was kind of a scandal because when the ladies turned, you could see their ankles, and private conversation was possible. But once the court accepted the waltz, it really became famous all over the world. Left-hand side, so we have a high number of 5-star hotels here at the Ringstraße. Back then, we call them palais. Talking French was always very elegant, So these palais were really owned by one single family, So mainly Jewish industrials, they all got a noble title for that, In front of us, the fanciest hotel here, the Hotel Imperial. We will have a little detour now. So coming up on your right-hand side, that's the official guest house. You can rent a suite here for 6,000 euros. The butler will iron your newspaper. Breakfast is not included, but you can cross the street here at McDonald's in a palais. Food is the same. Left-hand side, Mr. Karl Philipp from Schwarzenberg. The square is named after him. He was the leader of the Battle of Nations in Leipzig against Napoleon Bonaparte. We will turn right now. I would love to show you two buildings which are not located at the Ringstraße, the home of the Vienna Philharmonics. It's the so-called Musikverein. The New Year's concert is always performed from out of this beautiful golden hall. Coming up to your right-hand side, reddish beige, the home of the Vienna Philharmonics, Musikverein. Left-hand side, a beautiful Baroque church. Now we are old, 300 years old, The, I think, most beautiful Baroque church on the north side of the Alps, St. Charles Church, located at the St. Charles Square. And here on your left-hand side, you have two pavilions now. The architects arrived in new modern times in Art Nouveau style. In the back, the Technical University. For Art Nouveau, very typical, the sunflowers, certain elements. And 11 o'clock, behind the trees, a little bit in the distance, there's a white cube with a golden dome. Can you see it?
Yes.
That's the Vienna Secession. That was the exhibition hall, of this new movements. Gustav Klimt was also once the president, and the conservative established artists that were working at the Ringstraße, they copied their old styles, and then secession, secere means cutting off, so they had their own exhibition hall. It's located next to the Naschmarkt, unfortunately today closed, and Naschmarkt, a very nice multiculti market, and people of course didn't like the secession back then. They said it looks like a golden cabbage hat. So today we like it, and in the basement they have a room full with wall paintings of Gustav Klimt, the Beethoven frieze. He dedicated that wall paintings to Beethoven's 9th Symphony. So talking about music, Beethoven was born today in Germany, but he was spending 35 years here in Vienna. That's why, of course, we made him Viennese. Mozart was born in Salzburg, which was back then not part of the monarchy, but his last 10 years he was spending in Vienna. And what do you think, what was the first building which opened, so official building, which opened here at Ringstraße? We have it already in front of us. Our opera house. So once we turn left, everybody will see it. Then on the right-hand side, it was opened in 1869 with Mozart's Don Giovanni. Back then it was the court opera house. Today it's the State Opera House. Ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the most famous opera houses in the world. I think so. Yeah, we turn left, and if you look right now, you see the very big unique roof of the cathedral. Behind the opera house we have the famous Hotel Sacher with its Sacher torte, Sacher cake, and here Vienna State Opera House. And people didn't like it back then because they raised the street level after it was finished. So if you look now to the main entrance, you have only 3 stairs. The plan was more the stairs, 15 elevated, so you could show your dress, but they raised the street level, and it was so tragic for one of the architects, so that he committed suicide. So up there where the modern glass is, we just got it because there's a beautiful balcony with paintings where you can have a glass of wine, but during winter time it's closed. And it's a repertoire opera house, so we have more than 40 different operas in the program, also ballets, so if you stay long in Vienna you can visit a different production every night. And once a year we have the famous fancy opera ball. We have around over 300 balls here in Vienna between November and Ash Wednesday. Right hand side, he never was in Vienna, but sitting quite cozy in his armchair, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the most important poet for the German speaking literature. And right hand side, the former court gardens, imperial gardens, and today it's open to the public, of course. And coming up on your right hand side there is a gate, and please look through this gate, and in white marble you have Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And his last, as I mentioned, 10 years he was spending in Vienna, where he was composing his most famous works, Zauberflöte, Magic Flute, Le nozze di Figaro, Così fan tutte. And at the end, the Requiem, it was the Requiem for himself. He died only at age 35, and for me he was the top genius of all. Look to your right hand side. Everything you see now here is part of this Hofburg Palace, the former residence, winter residence of the Habsburg family, over 2,600 rooms. It grew over 600 years, so you have all different kinds of architecture styles. We will start the E group will start the walk here. Left hand side, 2 museums, palaces here, the Museum of Fine Art, a palace for paintings. In the middle, the only female ruler, Maria Theresia. She ruled 40 years until 1780, and the other twin palace is the Museum of Natural History. I call it the Museum of Stones and Bones. Now we have a really wonderful collection in the Museum of Fine Arts, Bruegel, Rembrandt, Rubens, Titian, so you can spend hours in there. So now we have a couple of museums here in Vienna. You will get a taste today of our city. So my favorite building here, Drinkstraße, is our parliament. Here on your left hand side, looks like a Greek temple. Greece was the capital, not capital, I'm sorry, cradle of democracy. And you have Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, standing outside of the parliament. I don't know why she's not spreading her wisdom inside of the parliament. So it got a restoration of 5 years, so that's why it really looks white and clean. You have the beautiful golden paintings, we have really, I think we take good care of our buildings. The first district is a protected UNESCO World Cultural Heritage, so we have to follow strict rules. You cannot change the facades. Of course, you have to modernize sometimes the inside. We're leaving now the Ringstraße, already at 11 o'clock here behind the trees. This steeple looks like a church, but that's our city hall, our town hall. Yeah? So we turn left on the right hand side, the Imperial Theater, the biggest theater for the German speaking world, and the Ring Rathaus, how we call it, the town hall. It's located in another park here, and in front of the park we have a nice square, and in only a couple of weeks the Christmas market will open. And just read in the newspaper that the Christmas tree is already there. I hope he's keeping the needles until Christmas. Yeah, this year. So usually it comes every year from a different province. Yeah, so Austria is divided in 9 federal provinces, but this year it comes from South Tyrol, yeah, northern Italy, which was once part of the monarchy, and they're still speaking German there. Yeah. So now, where's the tree? Right hand side. Right hand side. Yeah, it's there already. Oh, it's not that big. Okay. Yeah, no, this tree is only getting some lights. Yeah, it's not that. But the park will be really nicely decorated with hearts and everything. Yeah, and so, but we have many Christmas markets here in Vienna, and in the cities, in the old town, the decorations are all up already. But you know, there's the light. Yeah, the light starts, I think, the 3rd week of November. Yeah, but honestly, probably it's really a little early because the temperature was quite high here in October. Yeah, so for October it's pretty warm. Yeah, the last building I would love to point out is coming up to your right hand side, the Palace of Justice. Yeah, home of the Supreme Court. And ladies and gentlemen, the E group, yeah, the experts, they will no, we don't gonna have a test after the walk. So we will be on channel 29. It should be preset, yeah. And so if you want to leave, I don't know, backpacks or a coat on the coach, you can do that if you come back with us. Otherwise, please take all of your belongings, and in a moment Bettina will take over. So the leisure luxury group, please remain seated. Yeah, have fun, and we will see each other again. And group E, please get ready. Was? Aber perfekt. Na, aber der Mann wird irgendwo Knoten in der. Gell, wir sind schnell gewesen. Wie spät ist es? Ja, normalerweise brauchen wir. Aber es ist trotzdem immer anders. Es kommt manchmal auf die Tagesverfassung.
Das sowieso, wir sind ja keine Maschinen. Nein, aber
Wortfindungsschwäche.
Aber es ist sehr angenehm, dir zuzuhören. Sehr gut unterhaltsam. Und dein Englisch ist ja genial.
Ja, du hast ein Essen. Weißt du was, ich nehme da jetzt nur eins mit und so und lass das. Ist das der Outdoors or Indoors? We get out. Oh, ja. Wie die Haube.
The rest of the day. Okay, she said something about leaving something on.
Yeah.
We'll be outside.
Was ist das jetzt?
Schön.
Ein Badetuch. Das ist ein...
Ja, Pareo.
Ja.
Super. Hier steht das Blau so.
Ich hab's gern, habe ich auch ausgesucht, weil ich früher im Winter nur grau-beige
Was ist, was du meinst?
So schief. So schief.
Ich bin schon bei Pink.
Ja, das ist passt schon.
Ich bin schon bei Pink angelangt.
Also ja eben, aber das braucht man im Zufall. Ich meine, wir haben unsere Uniform jetzt nicht halt. Aber trotzdem häufig
Genau.
So, have fun.
Oh, you're leaving us?
No, you're.
Or you're...
She's giving out the tour.
Yeah, so I'm leaving you. Do you think
The day of? just going to sit in this hotel soccer in Americi.
Good. E group, please. Let's get out of here.
Kurz auch. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Warte noch, es steigt noch jemand aus. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bettina. We are the leisurely group, the luxury group this morning. So we go to the bus stop, which will be the same one where Nihad will pick us up again after our little walk, your free time by the cathedral, and our little walk back to meet the bus. If you decide to do the little walking tour with me, I usually walk about 20 minutes with the guests for the leisurely group, and we will walk as slowly as requested, required. There are benches on the way, you can take a rest on the way. I never know what guests have on the group, you know, no knees, no hips, or like me, old knees, old hips. Do let me know your requirements, but of course you also have the choice of going to a coffee house straight away. You know, if you've been to Vienna before or you want to do it like the locals do it, then you find coffee houses in the area. But do allow me to sit down and fasten my seatbelt and we'll be on our way. So, sind auch nicht mehr ausgestiegen. So we are going to stay on the bus for another about 10 minutes. We're driving to a square called Schwedenplatz, the Swedish square, and that'll be the same bus stop where Nihad is going to pick us up again. If you decide to do your own thing, you can meet us back at the bus stop. You'll see when we get there, there's room for 4 buses. The buses can't park there, so Nihad will have to drive off and come back to pick us up later on. And I'll tell you the time. If you want to meet us back at the bus stop and not do the little walk with me, then I'll tell you the time when to meet us, and you just need to look for the bus with the signs 44L and 44E. That is our bus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, although on the right-hand side, as Verena already mentioned, the large museums, they were purpose-built to house the collections of the Habsburg family. And the museums and what's inside is today, you know, owned by the Republic of Austria. Well, we don't need to worry about the Habsburg family. In the old days, the emperor would earn kind of a salary with which that family managed to buy property and pieces of art. You know, they can use the property nowadays to live in. So some of them kind of have to do some work, but they're well off. So we don't need to worry about the Habsburg family nowadays. On the right-hand side is one of the most famous members of the Habsburg family, Empress Maria Theresa, here sitting on her throne on the right, surrounded by her most important advisors. We call her Empress even though she was never crowned Empress herself. Her husband, Francis Stephen of Lorraine, he was the emperor. He'd married into the family, and a woman couldn't be empress in the 18th century. Only a man could be crowned emperor. She was Archduchess of Austria and Queen of Bohemia and Hungary. And being Viennese, I'm allowed to say that the Austrians were never very good at fighting wars or battles. No? They relied on marrying off the many children to ensure peace. Yeah? And Maria Theresa certainly fulfilled this role. She gave birth 16 times. 16 kids. Her youngest daughter was later in life Queen of France, Marie Antoinette. And Maria Theresa, though, is the only woman that ended up ruling for 40 years. Her husband, Francis Stephen, he'd married into the family. He wasn't that interested in politics. Outside his marriage, he fathered about 30 to 40 children. So he didn't have time for politics, basically. So his wife, Maria Theresa, she ruled for 40 years, the only woman ruling the empire. She was the daughter of the previous emperor, Charles VI, and when she started ruling, when she was 23 years old, she had to fight for her place. You can imagine the other rulers in Europe, they thought, well, there's a young woman now on the throne, we can snatch part of this empire away from her. So she had to fight for about 8 years to keep her empire together. On the right hand side now, this is the large area of the imperial palace, the Hofburg, the court palace, the winter residence of the Habsburg family. As soon as it got warm in the spring, the household would move to the summer residence, to Schönbrunn Palace, that used to be in the countryside, nowadays in districts 13 and 14, so within the city boundaries, only a 20-minute drive from where we are now. And this area is very large. It was built over a course of over 600 years. You can imagine every single emperor wanted to have a wing added under his reign and named after him. Today in this large area we have museums, the National Library. Our president has his offices there. And there are also some apartments that are rented out, so you can live in the palace grounds. On the left hand side, once again, our Houses of Parliament, with Palace Athena standing there and Nike in her right hand. Early this year they completed 5 years of renovations of this building. Very expensive. Would have been a lot cheaper to tear it down and build a new one, but of course it's a listed building for us and the future generations to enjoy. This time we carry on driving along the Ringstraße, the ring roads on the right hand side. We'll see the National Theatre, the Burgtheater from the front. Certainly one of the most important and, as Verena mentioned, largest German-speaking stages. On the left-hand side, they're getting ready for the Christmas market, and they're building an ice rink here on the left-hand side, so you can skate around the park. And on the left-hand side, our city hall. You see the large building. You see the Christmas tree, a spruce. I read it's 115 years old, and it was given to Vienna as a present by Südtirol. It's called Southern Tyrol. It's the northern part of Italy. On the right-hand side, one of the old traditional coffee houses, that's the Landmann. There you would have met Professor Sigmund Freud every day, where he enjoyed his coffee and his cigar in the morning. He listened to the Viennese chatting, and then he came up with psychoanalysis. So maybe that's where it came from. But he also only needed to cross the road here to the left-hand side to the Viennese University. This is the main building. It's of course way too small to hold all the faculties. They're scattered all over the town. The Viennese University was founded in the year 1365. It is one of the oldest, but not the oldest, but one of the older universities in Europe. On the left-hand side, we're about to see a church which was built in neo-Gothic style. This is votive church, so copying the style from the 15th century, but again this church is only about 130 years old. Well, it will remind you of St. Stephen's Cathedral when we get there, but St. Stephen's is an actual Romanesque and Gothic church. And the Cathedral of St. Stephen certainly is the most famous landmark of our city, and it is in the very heart of the city centre. Even though our stores are closed today, with it being Sunday, so you're lucky, gentlemen, you'll find that the souvenir shops are open around the cathedral. There are coffee houses. You may want to take a look inside the cathedral. You'll see the Gothic architecture and the Gothic windows behind the altar. Even if you're only standing in the back, you can also take photographs without flash. On the right hand side, the building with the red tiles on the outside, that's the former stock exchange. The offices of the stock exchange moved to other premises a few years ago. Nowadays you can rent office space in this building. So still today it's very prestigious if you live or work along the Ringstraße or in the old town, the city center, or the first district as we call it. So we'll carry on driving to the end of the Ringstraße on our way to Schwedenplatz, the Swedish square. You know, it was a cheap way for the country of Austria to thank other countries after the Second World War, when in Austria there was no money at all. So renaming a square after a country was a way to thank that country without spending any money. And Sweden was just one of the many countries that helped Austria a lot after both World Wars. And you decide, ladies and gentlemen, whether you feel happy and fit to do the little walk with me. As mentioned, we'll stop ever so often. I'll keep asking you if you're okay, if there's anything you need. We'll have the benches on the way if somebody needs to rest during the walk. So the option is yours, but you also find coffee houses on the way. On the left-hand side, the red brick building is a former barracks building. You know, after the French Revolution, the other rulers in Europe were very scared that the same thing might happen also here, and it did. In 1848, there was a revolution of the population here in Vienna against the emperor. That revolution, though, failed, and Emperor Francis Joseph ordered 4 of those barracks buildings to be built around the city center. So not to protect the population from invaders, but to protect himself from the population. And nowadays these buildings find good use. Our Ministry of Defense has some offices in those buildings, or also the Viennese police force. And nowadays Austria is a neutral country in the very heart of Europe. So we do have an army that is here to protect the borders, to help people if there are avalanches in the mountains, for example, in the winter. Then they come and help, and also if there's heavy rains and people's cellars are flooded, then the army comes along and helps to clean up the mess. And we also have a small air force in this country. So with that, we have reached the end of the Ringstraße, and we're going to drive along the old branch of the River Danube on our way to Schwedenplatz. That bus stop is very busy, so Nihad has to drive off and pick us up again just after lunchtime. So just in case you decide not to walk with me, but do your own thing, then please be back at the bus stop at 10 past 12. 10 past 12 if you want to do your own thing. You know, never know. You may have been here before, you want to do it like the Viennese do it and go to a coffee house straight away. You have all the options. Or you decide to walk with me to the cathedral, as mentioned. Usually I walk 20 minutes. We're going to walk along one street, which will be the same street we're going to walk back later on to meet Nihad. You'll also have a good hour free time to explore the souvenir shops, the chocolate shops, maybe a coffee house, you know, while in Vienna. After all, the Viennese coffee house tradition is a UNESCO protected World Heritage, so we too here love our coffee houses. By the cathedral you find 2 pedestrian streets with plenty of coffee houses along them and the souvenir shops. If you're looking for a quiet area, because it's always busy outside the cathedral, even on a Sunday when the shops are closed, you can walk behind the cathedral. There are benches all the way around the cathedral. You can also sit down inside the cathedral. At 10:15 the main service starts with beautiful music by an orchestra and a choir usually. You can sit in the back or walk to the front closer if you want to attend the rest of the service. That is also possible. And you will be able to hear me on channel 36. 36 is our channel, and here we are at the bus stop. Please take your time to get off the bus, don't feel rushed, and we'll see each other outside. Please remain seated.
What time does the service start?
The service starts at 10:15 and there's another one starting at 11 o'clock. Nihad is making it more comfortable for us. Thank you so much. See you outside.
Dankeschön.
First. Me too.
That first night. First. Dito na siya. That first. And that first.
Ladies drop their cards.
See you later.